I'm Rhonda Mitchell from Bagot.
Rob Page from SHoP Architects. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you probably already know the drill, but it's a 2-minute warning when your 6 minutes is up, and then only 2 minutes of questions at the end.
Thank you. So can we just kick off whenever? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. Collins Arch is a project that Woods Bagot, along with SHoP New York, won off the back of a design competition in 2014 run by Seabass Property. SHoP very quickly set up a Melbourne office and maintained that office through the entire project, really critical to the collaboration. The subject site is located on the, it's a unique island site located towards the western end of the whole grid, along the kind of the traditional main street of Melbourne, Collins Street, and also because it's this island site, there's these unique links down to the south. Program, it's very much driven around the public realm, allocated public open space, as well as an additional give back of 1,500 public realm on site, made up of mixed-use precinct, office, apartments, 5-star hotel and retail, all to create a vibrant mixed-use project, 24/7. This is the City of Melbourne improvement plan, driven by the City of Melbourne improvement plan. So you can see the kind of site condition located to the north of the Customs House down here, now the Immigration Museum. And one of the key drivers was an addition by City of Melbourne of a new urban park, the first in 40 years, which was added into this precinct, and it was part of a greater upgrade of their parks across the City of Melbourne. Moving into the urban design moves for this project, it was about creating links through the property, and also activating street frontages as an island site. That's something we could do quite successfully. Creating a series of elements that allow us to do that. North-south links through here, east-west link across the site, and then looked at a series of diverse urban elements that allowed us to create a variety of landscaped spaces for both use by the occupants as well as the greater community. This is how it's landed. Activation driven by lobbies. Commercial lobby over here on the west. Centre Court created the entry for resi lobbies, 2 lobbies to the east and west towers, and then Flinders Lane was very much about the hotel.
Go back.
Sorry. And you can start to see on the ground plane we're negotiating a 7-metre level difference between Collins Street and Flinders Lane. So it's a series of stepped elements and links. And as you can see, we've got this sort of amphitheatre element that carves through, linking into a colonnade with water wall on the on the eastern side, adjacent to the new City Park by City of Melbourne. Some imagery. This is from the public open space, and looking back at the colonnade, picking up these sort of biophilic elements like the water wall. Very much the materiality of the ground plane was about these big moves with the profiled precast, which created a link to all of the ground plane elements. Looking back from the park again, back towards the colonnade. The colonnade again with the water wall, adjacent to the park, water wall element. And this is the amphitheatre element that links the centre court down to the colonnade and into the adjacent parkland. The centre court, which creates the link down to Flinders Lane and the entry to W Hotel, and this is the north-south link down to Flinders Street, or looking up from Flinders Street. Also just picking up on this materiality of the ground plane again, very much looking at the kind of the wayfinding conditions of a natural palette. These profile precast elements are the things, as I said, that tied it all together and created this solid base to ground it into the ground plane. This is the commercial lobby on the west, and just introducing other landscape elements like the landscape wall.
So the big challenge here is the site's the size of a city block. So and we have planning envelope conditions with the City of Melbourne, the shadowing of the Yarra, all very critical. So we obviously wanted to try and get the most out of the site for the developer's sake, but also come up with a strategy where we're sort of basically pushing and pulling and minimising overlooking here and creating identity through quite a sculptural form that gives the building its identity. And this is a massing of all the different all the different uses in like we've got the hotel, the residential, which we call the hillside community, and then the commercial and the bridging to tie it all together. The big challenge is how do you make this a uniform building? So what was really important was bringing through these horizontal bands to basically unify all these uses into one element. And because the building's so big, what was really important was sort of understanding the historical, podium to the city and the historic context, and bring some of that into the actual articulation of the facade. So some of the rhythms and patterns, which then diminishes as it goes through the tower.
Sorry, 2 minutes left.
2 minutes, okay. So really we're drawing on those elements of the city. We wanted to take the city into the building, draw on the materiality, the bluestone, the articulation of the historic context, and reinterpret it through the building. And as you can see here, as Rhonda mentioned, the plinth is a very important element of the urban realm because it grounds the building and brings all those different functions, the amphitheatre, the park, into the building. And as you can see, it's a big building, so there's a lot to communicate in 8 minutes, but I think the best way to actually see this building is in the flesh. But we really drew on the materiality of the city, and the key thing of the design was about giving back to the city, like giving back that park, giving back the materiality and a level of finish. Every elevation has a front door and a connection back to the key streets of Flinders, Collins Street and Market. And then, also you can see the banding here. Even at the tower, it's considered from roof up and roof down and ground up. And then there's all these different uses in the building that brings in these neighbourhoods and outdoor environments. It's we described it yesterday as a pre-COVID design for post-COVID world. It's that connection to the outside which is really important, and park and the sense of public. That's what this building's all about.
That was the residential amenity.
That's actually in the bridge in the top. And I feel like I've hit my 2 minutes. So and this is how it sits in the landscape. So the building. It's as much about the ground plane, but also what's really important is that we believe we've created a building that sits sculpturally in its landscape. So, thank you.